Do your drum feel thin, repetitive, and boring? Even experienced producers can struggle to come up with drum patterns that feel lively, energetic, and big. But don't worry, because with the 3 steps in this video, you will learn how to transform even the most boring drum beat. Think of the entire process like baking a fancy cake. You start with the base, which is your kick. Then you add layers of cream and strawberries, which are your hi-hats, a clap or a snare. Then you coat it with chocolate, which are your percussion loops. But a cake isn't fully ready without the cherry on top. That's a technique that can take your drums from basic to pro, which is also the last step of this video. This is how I teach my clients to produce the music, and they have been smashing it with releases and shows. And if you want to learn the full system all my students use to finish every track they start, check the link below this video. So step number 1 is not quite technical, but very important. You need to start with identifying the vibe of your track. Is it club friendly? Is it radio friendly? Is it high energy, low energy, bright, dark? Are you making a tropical summer hit? Once you have answered these questions, your decision making will have purpose, and you can identify what character you want your drum samples to have. So I want to create some sort of a house or a pop song beat. But before we get started, there is a question I get asked a lot. And it's if you should design your drums in MIDI or audio. And the answer is with both. Some techniques only work in audio and some techniques only work in MIDI. And you will see why throughout this video. So the next step is sample selection. I already selected a kick that suits the vibe of my track. It's a clean and punchy kick. But it's missing some mid-high frequencies to help it cut through the mix a little bit better. I really like to layer my kicks with these type of samples. Drop one of them into your arrangement, make a little bit of a fade. Let's add an EQ. And then let's reduce the volume. This already has improved our kick so much. But there is one problem with this technique. When you layer too many percussions on top of the other, the transient, which is the initial bit of the sound, can get out of control. And your mix will have massive peaks, which is going to affect how loud your mix can be. It turns out the solution is really simple. You can actually see that the transient is in red, so let's just reduce the volume of our kick. And that already solved the problem. Next up is our clap. Let's start with a classic clap. Make sure to always audition at least 2 or 3 samples. Next up is our clap. Make sure to always audition 2-3 samples, and then we will layer it with a snare to add some body and to add some high frequencies. So I have here 3 different claps. Clap number 1, clap number 2, and clap number 3. Let's audition them and decide which one works the best with our beat. I already don't like the last one, and that's why it's important to audition your sounds and not just choose one clap and go with it. I do actually really like both of them, so I will keep both and I will decide later which one I want to keep. But it's all about the layers that's surrounding it. So I want to add a little bit of body, so let's look for a few snares. As usual, let's start with reducing the volume. -7 dB usually works. I think I really like this combination. First of all, we will use an EQ to carve the frequencies we want out of this snare. So I can already notice that the first combination is the winning one, so we will stick with that. But it's still missing some high frequencies to make sure that a snare has a full frequency spectrum. So I also found this snare We want to cut all the low frequencies, so we only stay with the high frequencies. This already sounds so much better than just having the one clap. I like to do something similar with my hats. So I started with a shaker, and then I added an open hat, kind of a housey hat, and added another one. And if you will notice, each one of these hats has a different character to it. But this still sounds a little bit boring. So that leads me to the next technique. The type of layering I did so far works better in audio, but the next technique requires us to use MIDI. Sometimes I go through my samples and I find these amazing drum patterns, like these. So I thought to myself, how can I extract the same groove but use my own elements? It turns out it's really easy. Step 1, open a MIDI channel. Step 2, load a drum rack. Step 3, let's look for a closed hat. These two will do. Step 4, take any of these samples and drop them into your MIDI channel. Ableton will automatically write the groove into MIDI. So let's copy all of them, put them on the correct channel, which is our two hats. This already sounds pretty cool, but it doesn't really end there. Let's actually swap the hats for something else, maybe a percussion. This could work. Cowbell. Let's reduce the volume. Add the EQ, cut the low frequencies. This loop sounds pretty dope, but we can take it one step further and make it truly unique. This is where most producers, even experienced ones, struggle, as it's so easy to just make something repetitive and boring, even if you have the best samples. This step is the cherry on top, where we decorate our beat to make it sound interesting. So if you want your drum beat to sound organic, lively, you need to find some interesting loops. Let's grab this one. Let's grab this one. Let's grab this one. We don't want to use the entire loop, but we want to use bits of it and place them strategically throughout our timeline to split our beat into little phrases. Let's also take this. Let's put a massive delay and reverb on it. Everything in this video will help you start a track easily, but if you're struggling to finish tracks consistently, make sure to watch this video next.